Hey guys, it's three mamas spilling the tea with you guys. It's Mama's Tea Time. I'm Jessica.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Rachel.
And we've got some stories prepared for you today. I think Rachel's gonna kick us off for this episode.
Let's go.
So mine's called My Entitled Mother Tried to Take My Daughter Away from Me. Am I a Jerk for Pressing Charges? So this all happened when I was 24, my girlfriend was 23 and pregnant, and this was the month I was going to get my child. Once my baby came, my mother started acting strange, such as saying, "You know that we all share," and I always wanted another baby. She never says stuff like this. One day we hired a babysitter because we wanted a night out, but the mistake that we made was hiring my mother as the sitter. Once we came home, we checked the whole house. No baby, nor my mom. I tried to text her, but she never responded, so we called the police to get a welfare check. And also to help find the baby. Once the police were allowed into my mom's house, had to argue for a while. The police found our baby. My mom kept screaming, "She is mine." We never pressed charges, and that was another mistake because 3 weeks later, she tried to break into our house. So we called the police and finally pressed charges on her.
Okay, yeah.
Is there an update?
I scrolled. I did not see an update, but everybody's like, she needs a psych evaluation.
Yeah.
But no, I don't see any updates or anything.
So she was just claiming her daughter's baby. She was like, "This is my baby. I'm not giving it back."
She just said, "This is my baby," and left with her with the baby.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. Also, how do you hire a grandmother to babysit for you?
Okay,
they should
that was
want
weird.
To do it.
Yeah, that's weird too. Like the verbiage of that. I hired her.
Yeah. I feel like my son's grandparents would pay me to watch them. You know, like they would be like, "I want to watch your baby. I'll give you money. Let me hang out with your baby." But like they would never take money from us to be like, "Hey, we just want to go on like a few hours," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what really
I've never paid a grandparent to watch my kids.
They want to.
They're waiting for it. Weird.
That is
interesting nowadays.
Yeah.
So basically she paid the grandparent to kidnap her kid. Because that's kind of what happened.
Basically, honestly. I mean.
Right? Am I just crazy? That's exactly what happened.
We share. No. I birthed this child.
Like, I feel like there's like something we're missing.
Mine.
Yeah, like a backstory to the mother or the grandma or whatever.
Well, they said that she'd never said anything like that before. But.
Well, yeah, because she wouldn't be watching my kid if she said anything like that before.
Right? Honestly.
Like, what?
That is so strange. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I would do what they did, but like going forward, if it was like, so I'm assuming it was the guy, or maybe it was her mom. Was it? Did it specify?
What side
of the family?
This happened. I was 24. My girlfriend was 23, so it was a guy.
As the mother.
God.
That would be the mother of the baby. That would be like grounds for like, we're probably never going to see this person again.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, God. That's just sticky.
Maybe and it's no contact until you get some help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, that's like sad and disappointing because I have a great relationship with my mom and I have a good relationship with my mother-in-law. So what other side? So it's like, that's really sad for like that relationship because that they'll never be able to watch. Like I would never trust that person again.
Never.
Like I would. How do you come back from something like that?
I don't think you can. I mean, in my world, no, you wouldn't be coming back from.
No, I'm sorry, and you're not ever going to touch my kid again. You're going to be away from my kid. Absolutely not.
That's so strange.
That is very odd, but that's wild to me. I be like, bye, you're never. Sorry, Christmas is going to look a little different this year.
That's right.
I can't imagine anyone doing that, let alone a mother or mother-in-law.
I feel like that was like casually just written on Reddit, you know? Like that's kind of a severe thing.
And then they
Right?
think they're the jerk for
I
pressing
figured
charges.
it'd be longer than that too.
'Charges.
Longer than that too.
When was, did it tell you how long ago it was posted? Like, was it like recently?
31 days. I've had it saved for a while, so
What do the comments
31
look
days.
like? You don't have to read any of them, but like, are they like,
Well, everybody's basically just saying, no, you're not an asshole, you're not, and then people are
You're not
saying
a
she needs
jerk.
help, and yeah,
You're not a jerk for wanting your kid.
you're not a jerk for,
that they need to go to the judge and have her see if the judge can make her have a mental
check.
health evaluation.
Yeah.
Definitely a restraining order. Bye. You're not kidnapping my kid twice.
100%. She tried to break into the house, probably to steal the baby.
That's
Oh,
insane.
no. Who just casually, okay, I just can't get over that. Who just casually writes this on Reddit?
Most of these things that you read,
I know.
that one seems like maybe you shouldn't be talking about it in public because there's like private court things happening behind the scenes. You know,
yeah,
like
probably. That's wild. Well,
that was crazy. A nice crazy one to start us off. I hope we have to go back to that one in like 2 weeks to see if there's any update.
Yeah, save that one.
I'll keep scrolling through the comments too.
Yeah, someone's got to be asking for an update. I mean, if not, send me the story and I will ask for an update.
Well, I'll ask for an update. I don't care.
Do it. We have to know. Say it's for the podcast.
All right,
Anyway.
sorry.
All right. Well, I'm gonna read mine. Mine's kind of short too. Not that you can see. There we go. Am I the asshole for not prioritizing my baby after his birth? And just to start off, this is from the perspective of the dad in the situation. So the husband.
Oh, okay.
So it says, when I tell you this woman went to hell and back to deliver our child. It was apparently an easy delivery, yet it was more gruesome than my worst nightmares.
Oh,
this
God.
sounds exactly like my husband already.
Yeah, literally.
I had
traumatized.
Yeah, he was. I'll tell you about my husband after the story because they're very similar. He said, I had read it all, but was truly unprepared. So in the heat of the moment, I forgot to look at our baby. It may sound cruel, but I was fine with the nurse telling us that the baby is healthy. The woman I had promised to love and protect was crying, howling, looking like she was fighting death, all because of me. Dude, you get it.
Accountability. Let's talk about it.
My entire focus was on her and her doctor. My mom asked me how the baby looked when he came out. She apparently wanted to relate back to how I looked. I said, I don't know. I told her why. Apparently, I was in the wrong for that. She told my wife's mother, who echoes the sentiment. Apparently, I got the rare opportunity that most men in their era never did and screwed it up. One of the comments was passed in my wife's earshot while we thought she was asleep. She wasn't, heard it, and started crying over how I don't love our child. That I don't mind. She's still zonked out on hormones and pain. Luckily, she quickly fell asleep and hasn't mentioned it since. I was guessing slash hoping she didn't register that interaction. But yeah, am I the asshole and a whipped husband who messed it up? I don't think so.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't think so either.
So the thing is, people or not people, he feels like he's the asshole because his mom, mother-in-law, and wife all said, like, you didn't look at the baby right after it came out, like, was judging him, but he was concerned about his wife.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's an issue. I mean, it's not like he's never gonna look at the baby.
Yeah, I mean,
if he knows the baby's safe, I feel like then it's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
The comments, that's what I was thinking. So my husband, I had an unplanned, well, it wasn't unplanned, but I had an emergency C-section with our baby. And so he came in, they were already slicing and dicing.
Oh, no.
And he came in and he's a tall guy. My husband's 6'4". So looking down doesn't help when you're trying to like keep your like peripherals, you know, not looking at certain things. So for him just to look down, it's different than if I were at the same like if I were at my height, like walking past this, like me looking down, I wouldn't see much, but he's tall. So he's like, it was a lot everywhere. But he was concerned about me because, you know, when you get a C-section, you stay in there and the dad goes with the baby to the room. And so he's like, this baby just came out like 3 minutes ago and my wife's still in there. He was like worried about me. He's like, okay, the baby's fine, but cool. What about my wife? She good? And they're like, yeah, they just got to finish closing her up, blah, blah, blah. But he was so worried about me. I was like, this almost sounded like he wrote it.
Yeah, literally.
But then I read it. My husband did look at Chase when he came out. I was like, look and just see, because like we could hear him cry, but I can't, you know, I couldn't look at the moment, you know, in the moment.
So wait, you're like still like awake and everything. You're just numb when you have a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have.
I had three.
Three C-sections. I'm probably going to have for the next one.
Yeah.
So I think everybody needs to have the conversation of like if there's an emergency, like when you're like newly pregnant or pregnant, like when you're okay. We talked about this with my husband about like if something were to happen, like he's always been like, if it's the baby or it's you, I'm picking you. Like I don't know if other people feel like that, but that is just a natural conversation we've had that we've talked about and discussed. I feel like other people should be talking about it because if you're in a situation where it's like the baby isn't, you know, doing well or whatever, like, or, you know, the baby or your wife, like who, like, if you can't save them
No,
both.
you had to choose, yeah.
Yeah. So we've like definitely had open communication.
I don't think we've ever talked about that, but I feel like my husband would say the same thing, like her.
But yeah, I just think that just having open communication with your spouse when you have like something medical or something like you're giving birth or anything like that, like because there's so many what ifs that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
So just being transparent and open about like, okay, if this happens, what are we going to do? Like, and talking about it beforehand. So you're not like, what would she want me to do? And like second guessing everything. And because then you together have to deal with that potentially.
Yeah. I just thought that was crazy because it really does feel like exactly what my husband told me after everything. Did your husband went in there, Rachel, with you for all three?
Yeah. Yeah. And he came in later after they'd already started, just like yours. Like that's a normal thing, even with scheduled ones. But then when the baby's born, he leaves with the baby. So
mine was so worried. Mine was so worried about me.
I don't want to sound like he wasn't worried, but like he never told me he was worried.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He told me my husband, like, I don't know what it is about giving birth to a baby that makes him so nice. But like he was like, you really yeah, he was like, you really like powered through, like you were so strong. I wouldn't be able to do that because I got an epidural and he watched them put the needle in my back and then he watched them pretty much watched me get major surgery and like he's like all of that and you're here holding the baby, feeding the baby, doing all the things. And I was like, yeah, women are pretty cool, man.
Well, yeah, I don't have a choice also because
same, yeah, exactly.
I never saw mine wasn't in there with me when I got my epidural. With any of them, even my first that I had, not a C-section, he wasn't in there.
Yeah, it was also, I got mine at like 10 o'clock at night. So we had been there waiting for people to come in and take care of us for a while. And he was standing in front of me, so he wasn't watching from behind. But he was like, that was crazy because apparently I didn't like scream, holler, like barely flinch. But I was like, I don't want to be paralyzed. I don't want to be paralyzed. Like,
oh my gosh.
The worst part, I was so terrified of the needle being jabbed into my back.
And if you've never had a C-section,
no, I've never.
You don't. It's weird. So you don't feel it, but you feel it.
You feel
the pressure.
Ew, like the pressure of it.
Did you feel tugging? Mm-hmm.
Tugging, pulling, and then
Like
shoving
it
back
went.
in.
Mm-hmm. But you don't feel
Gross.
like there's no pain. You just feel
But you know what's crazy? So they were wheeling me back to after putting me back together. They were wheeling me to the recovery room, and I already had started feeling my legs, my toes, and feet. So like I feel like that was borderline.
That's
Like
crazy.
my drugs were wearing off, like way too close to after the fact.
Yeah, because all three of mine I set in recovery because they wouldn't take me to the room until I started feeling, and I sat in recovery for about 30 to 45 minutes with each of them.
Whoa, that's a long time.
And that's after being, let's see, it probably took 30 minutes, 45 minutes, the whole
Yeah.
C-section. Maybe
Yeah.
not even that.
It is crazy.
I love it.
Crazy.
I love a good birth story.
Yeah, me
Fun
too.
stuff.
Anyway,
All right, well, I got some more tea for us. Okay,
let's go.
Okay.
This one's juicy, everyone. Get cozy.
This one's a pretty lengthy one. So it's my 47 female husband is 47 as well, male. Wants to open our marriage. I don't. We may be at the end of our marriage. Does anyone have experience? Has anyone experienced with this? Your face.
Wait.
Hi, Reddit. I am struggling and can sure use some advice. My 47 female husband, 48 male, have been married for 22 years. We have 3 kids, 2 out of the house, and the last one's almost there. Currently, we are living in 2 different states. We have had to relocate for work, and I have had our youngest in our home state until they graduate from high school and start college. We've lived apart for 6 to 12 months a few times during our marriage, military service, university, and short separation. During the course of our marriage, we have been through a lot of major life stuff, including death of our parents, living through depths of alcoholism and recovery, etc. We are both over 10 years sober and very grateful for that. For the most part, our marriage has felt solid. We love and respect each other, want to see the other grow and flourish as human beings, etc. The etceteras are
Exaggerating.
Yeah. The primary issue between us has always come back to sex. Over the years, he has expressed his dissatisfaction multiple times. We've worked on things, and I love that we've been able to try new things in the bedroom, and I'm happy to have the chance to explore and grow more sexually. Due to this, there's always been a sense of feeling not good enough on my part and some resentment as well. Over the course of our marriage, I have been the primary breadwinner and have worked my ass off to get to where we are today. He spent many years working part-time, attending university, etc. I am very proud of him for following his dreams and earning an advanced degree and starting his dream career. But during the time I shouldered the primary financial responsibility as well as childbearing, cooking, house cleaning, etc. A lot of time I didn't have the time or energy to get real creative in the bedroom. And I do think our sex drives are a little different from each other. I am happy with a few times a week, and he would be happy with daily. Over the past year or so, he has discussed wanting to explore poly in our relationship. While it made me feel very unhappy and uncomfortable, I have really tried to be open-minded and work through all my issues, thoughts, feelings to see if this was something I would be open to. Spoiler, it's just not me. I can feel it in my heart. I'm at the point in my life where I am okay with asking for my needs to be met and setting boundaries. We are spending a few weeks together over the summer, and a situation came up that forced the open relationship topic out in front and center. He went to meet with a female friend that I know casually. When they got back to my house, we all hung out for a while, including the youngest kiddo, and it was incredibly awkward. I picked up immediately on how physically close they were, the obvious attraction they had to each other, and felt left out, ignored, and disrespected. It also really hurt to see him so happy and animated with her. When we are together, I feel like I have to constantly try to get him off the phone to pay attention to me, and I'm always trying to start the conversation. We talked about it the next day. He admitted that he realized what was happening at the time and thought it might be good to push the topic a little, as we've talked about open relationships before, but not actually made any decisions. To be clear, they were not kissing or making out or anything. He says nothing like that happened, but admitted he was attracted to her and would like to have sex with her if I was okay with it. After a lot of hard conversation, he has expressed that he feels that being poly is a part of his sexuality rather than a dating style or lifestyle choice. I love him. I don't want to force him to be monogamous. If that is the case, I don't want to agree to something that crosses my boundaries and live in resentment. I don't want him to resent or hate me or eventually lie to me and have relationships with other people behind my back. I put the ball in his court and explained that after a lot of research and soul searching, I don't want that type of relationship, but I would fully support him if that is what he decides is best for himself. And I would love him still, even if we separate. But now I kind of feel like he's gaslighting me a bit. He made comments about how unfair it is that I'm putting the decision all on his shoulders and asking if I think I'm done with all the work I need to do about an open relationship situation. Bruh, you asked me for this and forced it out to be decided by your own actions. And yes, I feel like I'm done enough work exploring this topic and maybe to know my feelings. I get a strong sense that he is trying to manipulate me or imply that I'm not open enough or too secure. That makes me feel even more like my boundaries are being pushed. We are going to try and get an emergency session with our therapist to talk more about it. But in my view, it's for him to decide if not being constrained by monogamy is worth our marriage. It's unreal to think that after everything we made it through together, this could be what ends it. I love my husband, but right now, even being near him is hard and confusing. I'm full of worry, fear, anxiety. Has anyone had experience with this situation and can help?
No. I can't, but whoa. And how did it say how long they were married?
That's crazy.
Yeah, like 10 years. No, married for 22 years.
Because they're like
and he
47.
Never brought that up before?
47 and 48. That's their ages.
And he'd never brought that up before?
I don't think so. Nope.
That's crazy.
That's a lot. That's heavy, too. I wouldn't even know, like, in the future, if I've been with my husband for that long and all of a sudden that was being brought up, I'd be like, what?
Like, what situation? What happened for him to all of a sudden? And if it wasn't all of a sudden, how long have you been holding this in? What have you done?
Well, it's like ever since he brought up the not being satisfied with sex. And then they tried other things. And then she was like, she's like, I have all this to do.
What if it's his midlife crisis?
I would lose full. I would not be able to sit there and watch my husband flirt with another person.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't be able to sit there and then casually talk about it with him later. That was very mature of her. I'm not that mature. I'd be like,
there would be
get out.
Strong words.
I'd be like, get out. We're done. What is happening? I would lose full.
That's one of like two things that would cause me to, I've always known there's two things, and it's like cheating and like you going to murder someone.
You're going to murder someone. I mean, casually. I just know that this is like a lifestyle that people live. Like that's not I'm not used to that in my daily life, but I know that people like
I would not be okay with that.
whatever it's actually called. What is it actually called? I'm so ignorant. Yeah, so that's like a lifestyle that people are open to and that works for them, and that is what it is. But this is like a whole nother thing. I thought she was very mature, that she was like looking into it. That's a hard no for me, guys. No, that's not happening.
I don't know. I guess it's just, it comes to, you know, you've been together, been married for 22 years. Who knows how long you've been together before that. And like, that's a lot of time. Yeah. Like I feel like her like looking into it and like sitting with it and thinking about it is because of their relationship, like how long they've been together. Yeah. It's like she is willing to at least like consider and sit with it for a minute. Her overall outcome was no, I'm not going to do this. But she was like, okay, well, I love my husband. I don't want to leave him. So let me think about this. Is this something I can do? Some people are quick, at least us now while we're young, like no. But after being together for that long and also being almost 50 years old, like...
Yeah, I know. I'm like, who's trying to like have an open marriage and start over at that old?
I don't know, man.
We've been married like 5 years or whatever, and then we've been together 5 other years. So it's like, that's too much work to start all over and start new with somebody. Now I can't imagine that far in advance. That's like a whole nother thing. And they've been through like alcoholism, separation. They have kids together. Like that is some history.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Even like me and Camden, we've only been together total for 4.5 years. And still, that's too much work put into something to just... And we're married and have a baby, you know, but like ours isn't, you know, that long of a time. I just can't imagine 22 plus years. I'm
glad that they're going like therapy. That's what my advice would have been. Like, well, you guys need to go to couples therapy and figure it out. And I'm glad that she's sticking to her boundaries. Have boundaries even with your significant other. I think that's a huge thing. Like, this is my boundary. This is what's okay, and this is what's not okay. And I think that setting that standard in your relationship is super healthy.
Especially with sex. Very, like, especially with everything, but, like, especially with that, because they're just, like, hard no's.
Like, no, that's not my thing. Sorry.
No, and it should be okay.
That's not my thing. Sorry. Well, and she was like exploring, like it seemed like she accepted it really well. Like, you're not satisfying me. That's a hard pill to swallow. If your significant other said that to you, I'd be like, dang.
Yeah, I feel like that significant other, that husband has already been desiring other things. Correct. And waiting for a conversation to come up so that way he could say, hey, you ain't doing it for me no more, you know?
I think it comes down to like a heart issue. Like, is that, what did he say? He said it was part of his sexuality or something. That was like a whole nother world that I don't even know.
22 years, like, be upfront if that's part of your sexuality and how you've been. Why wait 22 years?
I didn't know it could be a part of your sexuality to just want more than one person. I didn't know that was a thing. I think that's a heart issue, right?
It's giving
Is that controversial to say?
I was about to say it's giving cult leader.
Yeah, I need all these women. Like, no, it seems like you have a heart issue and you need to go to therapy and work on yourself.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I don't judge anyone that lives that way, but it's not for me. Either. It's not for me.
To each their own, for sure. Like, do what you want, but then that's a long time to then speak up or forever hold your peace. What do you like? What is your thing? Maybe he's still trying to figure it out, but I think that was a good boundary she had set out and was like,
if
it's in your court. I don't want to do that. So if you want this marriage, you make the decision. Do you want these other women or you just want me? Because that's the boundary I'm setting, period.
And I feel like at that point, it should have been fine. But then she went on to say that he was, didn't she say he was like gaslighting her? Making it seem like
why is it on me? Or, like blaming.
Why is it on you? Because you decided to change. Or you decided to bring this up 22 years into our marriage.
Yeah.
So maybe it is on you. Goodness gracious. If the whole story would have been fine. It was a very mature,
correct.
Mature conversation up until the point that he got mad because she set a boundary.
He didn't like that. He just wanted her to cave in and him go out and do whatever he wanted and still get, eat his cake. Mm-hmm. What is it called? What's the saying?
Eat his cake or
have your cake and eat it too.
Eat his cake and eat it too. I'm just kidding.
I want the marriage that's 22 years with my kids to stay together, but I also want to go out and have sex with all these women and try weird things. That's really judgy of me to say. Sorry, guys. We're not here to judge. We're just here to spill the tea, but here's my opinion.
And who's to say he would have been okay with his wife also?
Ooh, yeah, there's a whole nother perspective. Does he think she's just going to sit on her butt and not do the same?
He could, I mean, I don't know. There could be more to the conversation that wasn't shared in that story. But, from what sounded like was being said, he just wants to have sex with other women. But, what about her?
Sex was heavy. I know that's not all a relationship is, but sex was heavily talked about.
Yeah.
And that.
That's where he wasn't satisfied, was in that department. I feel like every other department seems like they have a loving, healthy, communicative relationship, except he's not happy in the bedroom. So he wants to add another woman or two.
If we were hanging out with friends and then they left and he looked at me and said, yeah, I wanted to have sex with her.
I'd have been like, go, also take your stuff with you. On the way out.
I'd be like, there's the door, buddy. Don't let it hit you. I'll be filling up that child support real fast. Just kidding.
Right.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Next, Chad.
That's a Chad right there.
Oh my gosh.
Women. Sorry, Chads.
I know there's some good ones out there.
Sorry, not sorry.
Change your name.
Change your name. Well, that's the spicy piping hot tea right there.
Yeah, that was a good one. I need to step up my game. I need to find some juicier ones. More controversial.
I also want to know what other people think. So we want to know your opinion. So if you're listening to this, watching this, we want to hear what you think. Comment, message us, comment on the TikTok, subscribe, do all the things.
Do we have any comments we want to read?
I need to do a shout out to Kitty.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kitty. She's loving our podcast and she's commenting and doing all the things.
Yep, I have it right here. She said, this is my new favorite thing to listen to in my downtime. Thank you, Katie, and other mamas love Kitty. Thank you, Kitty.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out, Kitty. But y'all make sure to comment down below. And also, if y'all have some stories that are juicy of your own that you want us to read on the podcast sometime, you can email us. We do have an email. I don't know. You can't really make it anonymous, but we'll keep your secret.
We'll keep your secret.
We'll keep your secret. Or if you have a way to anonymously send it, create a new email and send it to us. We would love to read it on the podcast.
Your real life situations. Let's read it.
Yeah, let's go. No, I'm just kidding.
I also got a lot of people talking about that story we talked about with the diapers and the pacifier. A lot of people has brought that up to me, has messaged me, has texted me, and they're like, what in the world? I would never deal with that. And so I feel like we were really generous to be like, well,
Was that episode 2?
I think that was episode 2.
Y'all, go listen to episode 2. If you're listening to this one, go listen to episode 2. And if it's not on that one, also listen to 1 and 3 and figure out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, all of them to figure it out what we're talking about.
Well, we took a week off last week, but we're back. And
better than ever.
We'll see you again next week. Just 3 mamas.
Spilling the tea.
See you next week.